We've talked at length many times in the past about the ability of authorities to track your location using your cell phone. There are fairly defined laws now around what can and cannot be used from your phone without a warrant. But a warning for those of you looking to get your crime on. Be aware that police have come to rely more heavily on car sensor and information system data, including GPS and call records, when they want to challenge people's alibis. Why? There are currently looser privacy standards for cars, quoting NBC News. In recent years, investigators have realized that automobiles, particularly newer models, can be a treasure trove of digital evidence. Their onboard computers generate and store data that can be used to reconstruct where a vehicle has been and what its passengers were doing. They reveal everything from location, speed, and acceleration to when doors were opened and closed, whether texts and calls were made while the cell phone was plugged into the infotainment system, as well as voice commands and web histories. But that boon for forensic investigators creates fear for privacy activists who warn that the lack of information security baked into vehicles' computers poses a risk to consumers and who call for safeguards to be put in place. Quote, I hear a lot of analogies of cars being smartphones on wheels, but that's vastly reductive, said Andrea Amico, founder of Privacy for Cars, which makes a free app that helps people delete their data from automobiles and makes its money by offering the service to rental companies and dealerships. If you think about the amount of sensors in a car, the smartphone is a toy. A car has GPS, an accelerometer, a camera. A car will know how much you weigh. Most people don't realize this is happening, end quote. Law enforcement agencies have been focusing their investigative efforts on two main information sources: the telemetrics system, which is like the black box, and the infotainment system. The telematics system stores a vehicle's turn-by-turn navigation, speed, acceleration, and deceleration information, as well as more granular clues such as when and where the lights were switched on, the doors were opened, seatbelts were put on, and airbags were deployed. The infotainment system records recent destinations, call logs, contact lists, text messages, emails, pictures, videos, web histories, voice commands, and social media feeds. It can also keep track of the phones that have been connected to the vehicle via USB cable or Bluetooth, as well as all the apps installed on the device. Together, the data allows investigators to reconstruct the vehicle's journey and paint a picture of driver and passenger behavior. In a criminal case, the sequence of doors opening and seatbelts being inserted could help show that a suspect had an accomplice, say. But compared with the security on smartphones, the security on the systems is much flimsier, digital forensic and privacy experts say. Drivers typically don't have to unlock a vehicle's infotainment system with a passcode or a fingerprint as they do with smartphones. That means that with a warrant, law enforcement officials can sometimes extract incriminating text messages, calls, or files from an automobile far more easily than they could from a suspect's cell phone. Quote, if you've committed some heinous crime and we can't get into your phone, we can get peripheral data that has been synced to your car, an expert said. The contact list, calls made, text messages, and almost any criminal investigation, communication with the victim or co-conspirators is hugely important. Taking that with the telemetrics you get, how many people were in the car, how many doors opened, and it all paints a strong picture, end quote. Startups have arisen to sell toolkits to authorities to harvest the data from cars. There are currently 0 federal laws regulating what automakers can collect or do with the data your car generates. A hacker known as Green the Only recently showed how he could access personal details and passwords from buying used infotainment computers for Tesla cars on eBay. And think about it. As cars become even more automated going forward with self-driving parking and all sorts of other smart features coming down the pike, even more sensors will be added to cars and thus even more data.